Every great night you have had in Bangalore, the rooftop where the music was right, the bar where the crowd felt electric, a place where you couldn't explain why it worked. There is a decent chance the man responsible for that room is sitting across the table with me tonight. He went to France for school, came back at 23, and ran his father's restaurant on his own for 4 years. Then when he was 26, he got a phone call's worth of intuition, heard about two 17-year-olds who had thrown a college party that allegedly jammed Brigade Road, and called them the same evening. They didn't produce the David Guetta concert at Palace Grounds. They bought all 10,000 tickets and put the risk on themselves. They won. The first thing my guest did was book flights out of the country. That trip became Thailand. Thailand became Hangover. Hangover became VRO Hospitality. He acquired 2 distressed stores during COVID, while everyone else was burying their brands. He brought his father's iconic 1989 brand back inside his own company.
Welcome to the Vic Fix. This is Sharath Rice. Let's fix this.
Hi.
I know that you don't do a lot of public appearances and a lot of public speaking. That's why I'm super excited about today's episode, because I've known you for a very long time, Sharu, even before all of this started.
Yeah.
And I've seen your passion, towards Bangalore nightlife and building things over here. And it's such a pleasure to have you on this show.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Good to be on your show as well.
You have introduced yourself in your own words as the person who scares everyone at VRO.
Scares them. Oh, yeah. I'm not somebody who scares anybody. A lot of people think, I'm this real tough guy. A lot of people have this thing that I'm not approachable or something, which is fully wrong.
Right.
The people who know me know I'm the most approachable person.
Yeah.
But then for some people, when I walk into the room, or especially in my company, my employees and all, they think I'm really strict, and, they get scared to ask me a few things.
Right.
But then once they get to know me, they feel more comfortable, and then everything is okay.
And I can vouch for that, because I spoke to some of your friends and they said that we are the most gentle giant ever. You are the first person that anyone reaches out to whenever there's a need. And you are a friend for life, so I totally agree with that.
We can always, whenever someone calls, if there's any way we can help somebody, there's no harm in doing it, is what I always feel, If you could always help someone, tomorrow you may need help, and they could also be there for you in certain ways. So that's what it is.
We know that you went to France,
Yes.
To do your hospitality studies,
Yeah.
your early 20s.
Yes.
Okay. What did you go there to learn, and what did that education teach you that something in India couldn't give?
So basically, I went for an internship course where this university in France had a lot of, apart from French, all international students from all different parts of the world would come and work in this particular hotel. It was called the Vettel University. So it was a university come hotel, all in one block, and hostel.
Right.
So that particular hotel, people from all over the south of France would come to dine or do something, because knowing that is one place where you would never see any French. You would only see all international students.
Yeah.
Students, and even your seniors would be from different parts of the world.
Right.
That is the uni I went to, and we learned a lot from a lot of different cultures. We had a lot of different people with us: Russians, Chinese, Sri Lankans, Americans, South Americans.
Right.
We learned a lot about their cultures, a lot about what they do, and then they were also very into what we do. So there was a lot of mix and match with everything. And
Right.
learning was zero, but learning from each other was a good thing. That's the only thing that came out productive. Learning hospitality, I don't think we would just go work and do our job and come back. But getting to know different cultures from different people, that was the beauty about going and studying
Amazing.
in that uni. Once I came back, I started working with my father
Okay.
in Tycoons.
Right. So that was your first-
Jasmine's hadn't opened yet.
Yeah.
I was in Tycoons, where I would go help my dad and work with him till 1:30 every morning, 2 o'clock back in the day. And then come home with him. I would do a captain's, he gave me a captain's job
Right.
take orders, do service.
Right.
That's what I did for 3 years after I came back. I was with my father in Tycoons.
Right.
Desmond's came much later. Desmond's we opened 1 year after Tycoon shut is when we opened the first Desmond's in Lavelle Road.
Right. Yeah.
And I continued being a captain for a good 2.5 years.
Okay.
Order taking. I gave one idea
Right.
to my dad. I said, let's start corporate lunches. That is when the first time we started a 99 rupee buffet,
The buffet. Yes.
which worked out very well. That's what I did for about 2 years. And then we opened Desmond's Kormangla.
Right.
That's when I went there and started looking after the business in Kormangla,
Right.
in Desmond's.
Yeah. How was it breaking into the Kormangla market? Because Desmond's, was a very well-known brand at that point of time.
So I studied in Christ College. There was no place to eat or drink in Kormangla. The only place we had was Friends. There's a restaurant called Friends,
Right.
where all of us would go there and then we would all jam up and eat one fried rice. I remember at 40 rupees. And that area opposite Jyotinavas had one, it had one Shuksada. And at the same time, you had one 1905 Nilgiris, one small restaurant which was on the JNC road.
Right.
The road where I started Desmond's, where I thought maybe definitely there will be a big future in this place.
Right.
Those days, I was the first guy to open on that road.
Yeah.
Restaurant with a bar. Today, that is the same road which has more than 40, 50 bars.
Yeah, right.
Eh? But when we opened there, it never worked out. Unfortunately, it never worked out. With the lunches worked out, which we did that 99 rupees buffet.
Right.
That used to work out Monday to Friday. But in the nights, we never saw a crowd. And moreover, they were doing that. They did that one road, that main road, what you see outside Empire.
Yeah.
It was one of the first white topping roads that came into Bangalore.
Right.
That road was destroyed. They were doing work for more than 2 years. So in the night, we would never get any customers back in the day. Though I used to run the business late, whatever little, but now if you look at it, that road is one of the busiest streets in Bangalore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
And this was just before the IT boom happened, I think, right?
Yes.
Just before.
Yes,
IT.
just before the IT.
Yeah. Your father is 79 and still personally runs Tycoons inside your company. Okay. He still don't give VRO a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah. By his measure of what a restaurant should be, does VRO count as success yet?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And what dad used to do, or what he's still doing, Bangalore before was known for its hospitality.
Right.
Correct? So a lot of people, when Tycoons was there, maybe those days when he opened, it was the first fine-dine in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Then there were a few other fine-dines which opened later.
Right.
But the first fine-dine, I know for a fact that he's the one who was not in a five-star hotel who started a fine-dine.
Yeah.
And the difference is, dad used to be there personally, know all his customers, and he would even know what his regulars would eat. So they would just enter and, say, they would just sit down and the food used to be sent. That was the kind of hospitality those days.
Right.
But those days you had that one segment of people.
Yeah.
Today we're overcrowded. So it's very tough to do what was done those days to today.
Right.
Even today, Tycoons, half the crowd are still all his followers who go there, and he still does what he was doing when he was 20 years old.
You're right.
Going and talking to every guest.
Yes.
For us to do this, even to learn from him, it will take me 3 lifetimes to do what he used to do. I cannot compare myself to what he used to do or what he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's a very big difference.
Right.
And his style is very different. But also those days, hospitality was very different.
Yeah.
When we were kids, or maybe when you were a kid, if you go to Bangalore to any restaurant, you would know from the doorman.
Yeah.
Because the doorman will have one big muchi. And he'll, when it always somehow would be a Tamilian guy who will always be in front of the door with a big mustache. The way that fellow would salute the kids and everything.
Right.
And then your waiters would know you. Your waiters were humble.
Yeah.
Today it's become too corporate.
You're right.
It's not like that anymore. It's very tough.
What's a dish from your father's menu, across Tycoons, Princess, or even Desmond's, that you haven't been able to recreate no matter how hard you have tried in your own kitchens? You say anything like that?
The dish called the chicken a la king.
Yeah, we spoke about it. Yeah.
Then he had his own master recipe. We cannot do it. Nobody can.
Yeah.
big ball of chicken. When you cut, there's a lot of butter flow.
Right.
Nobody's been able to do it.
Let's talk about the founding of VRO.
As far as I can remember, I had a small restaurant with a friend of mine in St. Mark's Road.
Right.
So I was sitting there. Then the owners of the club on Brigade Road were friends of mine. They knew these boys.
Right.
The boys had some trouble. I can't remember, somebody was threatening them or something. I won't let your party run. And then, some people like us
Yeah.
from back in the day, if somebody is doing a party, we always encourage. Even if we are doing a party, someone else always encourages. Even today, I feel that is the way everyone should do business. There is no enmity. There is always goodwill for everybody. You do your event, I do my event.
Yeah.
Some may get a crowd, some may not get a crowd. Sometimes I had events where I had zero crowd.
Yeah.
Some days I had events where we had more than 1,000 plus people. So then those boys told me they really did a good show. They blocked off the whole of Brigade Road. Then we all met at my restaurant, in fact.
Okay.
We met and then we asked them, what do you think we can collaborate and do?
Yeah.
So he said, come, we will start these Wednesday nights
Okay.
in F-Bar.
Right.
Arun, unfortunately, is no more today. Who was a very good friend of mine who owned F-Bar at that time. He said, come, see what you can do. My place also needs something. So 3 of us got together and started Wow Wednesdays.
Okay. Okay.
The first week had about 200 people. And then the owner said, come on guys, you can do better than this. And we worked on some things and the boys also took it up as a challenge and they said, we have to pack this place up.
Right.
The next week we had 1,000 plus people. That place was packed and we had to stop entry and it was logistically a nightmare, but the show was a big hit.
Right.
And after that there was no looking back. Wednesdays, then went to Saturdays. Saturdays were in Pebble. We used to do the property called Addicted to House.
Right. Right.
Then in the near future, we went to Shiro. We started this property called Studio 54, only on Fridays.
Yes.
That property ran for 8 years,
Yeah.
8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Then we used to do Sundays at Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
Also, we did brunches for 3-4 years in different venues.
Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to ask you is that at that point of time, they were 17 and you were 26.
Yes.
What did you see in them that justified that call?
Enthusiasm. Someone with that drive wants to do a show.
Right.
Definitely have a following. I didn't have that following when I was 17. These guys had it.
Yeah.
I had a following on my own, yes. But what these guys had was way bigger than what I had. Combined, I knew everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
I knew the DJs, I knew the club owners. I had a different equation
Right.
in the system.
Right.
These boys had the crowd. Putting that together, each one's strength
Yeah.
became something unstoppable. So I had my own company called Rice's Incorporation.
Okay.
The boys had something called Obliquity India,
Right.
right? So even when we jammed up doing Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays,
Right.
it was always 2 different companies. The
Rice's
flyer would say
Obliquity
Rice's Obliquity and Rice's Inc. and Obliquity India. Then when we did the David Guetta deal, there was only one logo allowed on his flyer. So then we said, we will make it RO.
Yeah.
And that is when RO was born.
And then talk us about the David Guetta night, wherein you ended up buying 10,000 GoPay tickets. There was no production credit, but just the demand risk. What was going through your head when you made that call?
So I remember this, somebody met me in a club and told me this David Guetta offer is there. And at that time I said, okay, let's talk to the guys directly. If you put me on to directly and if I understand what they want, let me see what can work out.
Yeah.
So then they called me and I said, yes, please tell me your deal. And 1 or 2 days of negotiation where you get 3,000 tickets. If you sell, you get 20%, 4,000, you'll get 30%,
Right.
5,000. So finally it came to a deal where you were getting discounted till 7,000 and above 7,000 tickets is all yours. So then,
Wow. Okay.
after 7,000, was 80%.
Right.
80% commission comes to us. So that's how they work their math. I don't know what is the cost of the artist or whatever at that time.
Right.
And obviously, David Guetta commercial, I think
It would sell.
he would definitely get 20,000 people. Then I started talking about what happens after the 10,000 people. Do we get to keep the whole thing?
Yeah.
And they were like, no. So the company was OML.
Okay.
OML.
Yeah.
Those guys are very strict.
Right.
They say 10,000, 10,000. They don't want 10,001.
Right.
Then I sat with the boys. I said, listen, we need to pull out this much X amount of money
Yeah.
and give it to them and buy their tickets upfront. And we will make this much.
Right.
So we took a calculated risk. But somehow I knew all we needed to do was sell 5,000 tickets to kind of break even.
Right. Right.
Not 10,000.
Yeah.
10,000 was later, break even for our investment.
Yeah.
So we somehow did something, called a few friends.
Yeah.
Some friends helped us, gave us the money. We bought the tickets up front.
Right.
That is when the logo also came into play, where the paper ad or the hoarding, where David Guetta's management has to agree. So you can't have many different people. So they said only one name. So that's how Rice's Obliquity was born.
Yeah. Wow.
So the name RO was born there, and then we did the show. And that was the only show till date where we sold 10,000 tickets in 4 days.
Right.
And there was 20 days to the show.
Yeah.
There were no tickets.
Right.
I had to switch off my mobile. Because I'm not in charge of passes, complimentary passes. They gave us some 100 passes to give away.
Right.
I had more than 3,000 people asking me for passes. So I had to switch off my mobile and there was a lot of pressure. But that show was a big success actually.
Got it. And tell us, who is the V in VRO?
So later on in life, when I was doing Studio 54,
Right.
a very senior person and a very good, a friend of mine, obviously much older than me, and he would always, a very senior person.
Right.
One day I met him in Shiro. I know him for many years.
Right.
He's a friend, family friend. So he was there early having dinner. I was having dinner. And then, so he said, what's happening? He said, how come you come for my event? I said, what event? Because at the time it was only dining crowd at 8:30 in the evening. I said, no, we do an event, Studio 54. And I knew, for whatever reason, that place will be 10 o'clock jam-packed.
Of course.
That was how Shiro was for 10 years. Back in the day, the system was like that.
Yeah.
You would have one great night and it would continue.
I know.
So he said, what event, whatever. And I said, stay back, have dinner, have a couple of drinks, and then you'll know. This person stayed back. He had a few drinks, and then at 10 o'clock, it was jam-packed.
Right.
And then he stayed on with me till about 11:30. And 11:30, he's not a late nighter. He likes to wind up by 11:30.
Yeah.
So when he was going, he's telling me, now listen, I'm going to buy this particular place in Koramangala.
Okay.
I need you to take over. So I knew now with my experience in Koramangala, I definitely don't want to go burn my fingers again, right? And those days it was still very fresh. It was not like how it is today.
You're right.
I said, no. I somehow had thought, what do I tell this man and how do I tell him? And I told him that night, I said, see, while he was leaving to the car, I walked with him and I told him, if we ever do anything, Desmond's is going to close on Lavelle Road.
Right.
It's going, the term is ending.
Yeah.
We will do something together in 12th Main, Indranagar.
Right. Yeah.
He said, why do you want to do 12th Main, Indranagar? I said, that is 100% going to be the future. The best bars are going to come up on that road. We make an everyday bar, industrial looking. We do this and it will 100% do superb business.
Yeah.
You'll be on board? He asked me. I said yes. Will your father be on board? I said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it. This happened in September.
Okay.
After that, there was no, obviously the night was done, there was no communication. I was in the UK
Right.
on the 3rd of January when I got a call. Said, where are you? And I'm in the UK. I have identified the place on 12th Main. I want you to come back. I want you to come tomorrow. I'm going to close this.
Okay.
We will start our first pub.
Right.
So then I flew back. I flew back immediately.
Okay.
By the time he had spoken to my dad, he said, sir, are you with us?
Right.
Dad said, yes, I'm with you. I flew back.
Okay.
All of us met. Don,
Right.
Safda,
Yeah.
everybody was introduced. And that is how we started the first place in Bangalore.
Right. So basically, yeah. So then we is the third partner.
We is the third partner.
Also talking about some of the other concerts that we have had in the lead up to the David Guetta concert. I was personally there for one of them, which was the Flow Rider concert. And talk us about that, because I think that concert.
So Flow Rider was done by my friend,
Right.
Imran.
Right.
He used to do a lot of shows those days.
Right.
Now where he got, even today with VRO, I handle operations and I handle licensing.
Yeah.
I've always been good at it.
Yeah.
Those guys got stuck with permissions and this and that. That's how I intervened. I mean, they called me and said, you come, you be a part of the show.
Right.
Just handle the permits, handle that, you have to handle those, you have to get those tax things printed on your ticket,
Yeah.
all of that. So I took up all that, and I remember we did that show, heavy rain, traffic jam, show supposed to get over at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Flow Rider only came at 9:50.
Right.
Because he had to walk all the way from the main road to the venue. I remember walking with him. Finally he came and sat. I knew we had 10 minutes for him to perform. Obviously, the guys who are in charge of backstage have forgotten to put Evian water. Now, Flow Rider doesn't want to come on. Heavy rain, thousands of people, packed. One side, now you have to handle the police.
Yeah.
One side with wet notes and say, sir, please give us half an hour. His performance may be half an hour, 1 hour. Whatever you can manage. On one side in the rain, I'm dealing with the police. On the other side, this fellow is standing and doing push-ups. When the police ask me, what's he doing? Why is he not going on stage? Having to explain to the police that he hasn't got his particular water would have sounded like a, big...
Right.
all of this. Finally, we got some grape water for him. We drank it. He went on stage. He performed for 1 hour. We pushed that party to 11.
Right.
Everything went well.
Yeah.
Crowd also was happy at the end of the day. Heavy rain. But managed.
Right. Saftar said on GrowX, okay, that the David Guetta money you made, whatever you made that night, none of you have any idea where it went. You booked everyone's flights immediately. Was that a deliberate philosophy, or just what happens when three guys do their first concert together and do the first big money?
So, we were already doing Wednesday nights, Friday nights. And from what we used to earn, we started earning a little bit more. But what came as a chunk from Guetta,
Right.
there were also people involved who gave us money, who we had to give it back, give them the interest. So the money we made was not that much, but the money was good for a Thai holiday.
Right.
So 3 of us booked our tickets. We took a few friends also. I remember we even paid for them.
Right.
The rooms and everything was paid for. And we went for 1 week.
Right.
And one thing, that holiday also gave us an idea, which was the biggest idea of Hangover.
Was the Thai
Thai cocktail buckets and the cocktail van, because we would go and sit there, because bucket liquor
Yeah.
used
I
to, those days we can't afford going to a bar and buying a bottle and all. Those days you have to go and look around. Thai cocktail vans were a big thing in Thailand back in the day. They've stopped it.
You're right.
The government has actually stopped it there.
Yeah.
Going, having those drinks, different cocktails in buckets, getting high. Those days are different. So that's the idea of bringing the cocktail van into 12th Main Indanagar and serving bucket liquor.
Yeah.
So good things came out of that holiday.
let's talk about the current direction. I mean, at least from an outsider's perspective, what we see the VRO outlets going in, right? On one side, you are opening up affordable bars such as Whopper, Peter, because that's a trend that is currently going on, and it's a trend that's here to stay.
I feel that is going to be the future.
Right.
Bangalore keeps shifting trends from when you've seen it, when I've seen it. There are times of nightclubs
Right.
to the times of everyday bar,
Yeah.
times of breweries.
Right.
Before, back in the day, we could never think of over 100-seater. Today,
Right.
1,000-seater places are opening. That's the influx.
Yeah.
But today, the competition also is growing.
Right.
How do you sustain this? Now, our new strategy is everyday bars.
Yeah.
Quarter Peter opened here in November.
Right.
It's doing decently well.
Right.
Now we've opened another one called the Mini Bar.
Yeah.
Mini Bar is the first QSR bar format. It's a smaller bar where you go, place your order, take it from the tray and go.
Right.
We've even priced beer at 67 rupees. But a 220 ml glass. Everything comes in miniatures.
Right.
Today it's all about Instagram
Right.
and all these things. That's what promotes certain places, right?
Yeah.
So we have
But on
to...
the other end, you also have places like Mirage and Novakan, right? Which are,
Yes.
like exclusive
Yes.
luxury places. So how do you somewhere suit a balance? Where do you foresee, what's the middle ground between both of these?
So Mirage was 7 years ago. Mirage, when we opened, in the city center, you can always open a premium location.
Right.
So what you give them? Open air always works in Bangalore, rooftops, especially in the city center. Mirage was one of them, right? Now we are almost 7 years old. We're still doing pretty well. I don't want to complain about the place.
Of course.
And that open air, that rooftops, those places you can go a little high end. Now Novakan the same.
Yeah.
Novakan is bang opposite UB City. It's on the most prestigious road of Bangalore, the Vittal Malya Road.
Right.
It's on top of one of the most iconic buildings, the Coffee Day Square.
Yeah.
So that place, but if you look at it, we haven't gone in the Mirage angle. We have made it much smaller, more compact, where it's only about 120-seater. Yes, you can make it a little expensive. It's not very, very expensive. It's fairly priced.
Yeah.
But for that kind of ambience and everything, there has to be 1 or 2 luxury segments in what you have. And then the rest can be served to the masses, right?
Right. Yeah.
Quarter Peter may be very affordable. The prices are really low.
Yeah.
But come here and sit down and see the crowd that comes in. Come see the crowd that comes to Mini Bar.
Yeah.
Though it's 67 rupees, you see a really good crowd coming and drinking there.
You're right. You're right.
Tomorrow we're doing one in Koramangala, Quarter Peter, 400-seater. Because we feel this is the right way or maybe the right direction to go in.
Right.
Let us see what happens with Koramangala.
Sherry, let's talk about the sudden wave of COVID that happened. And we know that we had just opened Mirage Bangalore at that point of time.
Yeah.
And 30 days into opening it, you had to close it down.
Yeah.
Walk us through that particular moment. What happened? And, when you walked into this room with Safdar and on, and you said that you are going to be okay. How was this decision taken?
So after the pandemic, whenever we took a new place or any new outlet, we changed things in the agreement where there is something like this, where there's a problem where the whole world shuts down
Right.
and the business is not able to operate. We won't be paying rents. That's the most important thing, right? Paying rents. How do you pay a rent?
Yeah.
How do you pay the licensee's rent?
Right.
How do you pay the building rent?
Right.
Also, one thing you have to handle your staff.
Right.
So we had 4 outlets after when the first pandemic hit. We had Indanagar Hangover, HSR Hangover, Koramangala Hangover and Badmaash, and we had Nevermind.
Right.
5 outlets.
Right.
We had a lot of staff. How can anybody sustain when this is your only business?
Right.
You have to make something to do something, right? Everyone wanted rents, they were different. We had to face a lot of issues. But at the end of the day, we explained to everybody. Some people were very supportive, some people weren't supportive. But we somehow managed and came through this whole pandemic. And then after that, Mirage was getting ready, I remember. Then we opened, and then the second wave hit, where we had to shut into the 30 days of operation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the first place and always the last place, first place to shut and last place to open will always be bars and restaurants.
Right. Exactly.
If anything happens, if it's a pandemic, if it's an election,
Yeah.
if anything, first the bars have to shut.
Right. Right.
And then the last ones to open. If anyone's business gets banged up, it's ours.
Yeah.
But we always, I remember during COVID time, 3 of us somehow make it to office. Plan. We just didn't give up. We just sat planning what to do, how to do. And then after things opened up, the world boomed.
Yeah.
Not only India, the whole world. Everyone was fed up of staying inside. Everyone wanted to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though we were first only open 5 o'clock in the evening, 5 o'clock changed to 7.
Yeah.
7 changed to 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
10 changed to 1.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Even when it opened till 7, people would come out at 4 and go home at 7.
Yeah.
Because people wanted to come out.
In 2020 and 2021, when every restaurant was budding with crime, okay, you acquired Plan B, Café Noir, Berry, One Night in Bangkok, and Fawa. What did you see in this wreckage that other operators missed?
No, it's nothing. See, Plan B happens to be a very good friend of mine. Sandeep. He owns Plan B. He owned One Night in Bangkok. We were neighbors. Hangover and One Night were neighbors. So I used to always stand out with him. On those days we were rocking. So both of us used to stand outside always, crowd control.
Yeah.
And I know Sandy from school days. He's the same age as me, and also I know him for a very long time. And then time he had about 3 outlets, and he said, "Listen, I'm going to wind up." That's when I spoke to him. I told him, "Why don't you join us instead of winding up? Don't get a thing. Let's see what happens after COVID. You don't have to shut shop. We will see where we can integrate your brand." Like I had space in Kormangla, for example.
Right.
I had place in HSR.
Yeah.
I said, "Come, we'll bring your brand. We'll put it here. We'll put it there."
Right.
Then he said, "Okay, I need someone, whatever." We had to fix something with him and, sort it out and then acquire the brand. And I knew it's a very strong brand. Plan B is very strong. The wings are the best wings anyone can ever eat. Today it has a huge cult.
Yeah.
Huh? But there's no point me taking his brand without him.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he can do with those wings. I don't.
Right.
He's still with us today. Plan B from 3 has gone up to 8. With none of his existing outlets, which he had.
Okay.
When we took over, all his 3 outlets are all gone.
Right. Right.
Example, Indanagar 12th Main went to Indanagar 100 feet road. A smaller Plan B made a bigger Plan B.
Right. Right.
Shanti Nagar went to Kormal to build. So we built it together.
Right.
Café Noir came at a very good deal. UB City is always a good real estate.
Yeah.
That's when we said we never have a cafe. So that's how we took Café Noir. Our auditor did the deal for us.
Yeah.
That was the other brand.
Yeah.
Berry we bought over, but we never used that brand.
Right.
We've always, we bought out the company, but we changed the Fawa to Badmaash,
Right.
which is now in UB.
Correct. Correct.
That also will be coming under renovation very soon, where we're planning something very different.
Continuing on this conversation, let's talk about Bangalore's one of the most loved outlets for retro music, which was One Night in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And this is an outlet that everyone misses.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us why this very closed?
So, One Night in Bangkok was not mine, it was Sandeep's. So, he shut the place down before COVID.
Right. Yeah.
I had the brand with me,
Yes.
but the place was doing very well in that spot in 12th May.
Right.
I also figured a spot in UB City, which I opened the One Night in Bangkok. I started the retro nights.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it never did what Indranagad. We had good Thai food over there.
Yeah.
We had retro music. We had everything. Nice small place. Everything was done.
Yeah.
But somehow, we ran it for years.
Right.
A lot of folks from Indranagar only would come. They love retro music.
Yeah. You're right.
It was easy for them to walk down, come. Somehow UB City could not deliver what Indranagar did.
Right.
We tried, but it never worked.
I've heard from people in the scene, but you have brought in a big international act earlier on, who was mainstream pop, not India. And the numbers didn't work. What did that particular experience teach you about the gap between what a crowd wants and what they'll actually pay for?
See, those days, artists came at one price, and tickets were selling at one price.
Right.
But it was always a gamble. Those days, it was a small gamble. Today, it is a big gamble.
It's still a gamble.
It's a very big gamble.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody recently bought the biggest show to India. The biggest IP. In fact, CircoLoco is the biggest IP,
Yeah.
or I feel personally one of the biggest IPs in the world.
Right.
He did everything right.
Yeah.
Are the best artists, and he obviously invested a lot of money. He's come and he's done his setup, he's done everything. People have flown from all over the world, and not to get permission few hours before the event.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Right.
The same day, the previous day, there was another big DJ playing to 20,000-30,000 people. How come he didn't get his permission? So, sometimes you never know what can go wrong. It can be a gamble for anything. Big shows are coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Coldplay worked. That had a lot of support.
Yeah.
These shows also should work. Everywhere in the world they work.
Right.
We should encourage all these things.
But do you think the same problem, Sharu, apply to the hospitality industry as well? Somewhere, because some people also look at hospitality as a gamble nowadays.
100%. 100%.
Right.
Today you have to be very careful with what you go and open. Where you open. Example, Goa.
Right.
For us,
Yeah.
I saw one version of Goa. It was booming after COVID. Every place was packed.
Right.
I went and took a venue which was a very historic venue which had a lot of people go there. I went there and saw a black coffee show.
Right.
There were 2,000-3,000 people. So I thought definitely, you can open. Beautiful view. Everything was right. And then we opened and then we saw reality. Sometimes what you see is not what's going to happen.
The DJ and artist payment problem in the Indian nightlife industry is one of the industry's most open secrets. Since you have been organizing concerts and this for a while, you have also somewhere picked a part of the career on the theatres company. Okay. What's your take on this issue?
See, times when I was a promoter, I used to do good events. And sometimes even I was not paid. This industry is like this. If all over India, it's not that we don't want to pay, we also want to pay all our artists, everybody. When you're doing good business, you can pay easily. When it becomes tough for you, then it becomes tough for us also to pay. But it's not like, we want to kill ourselves by not having those artists coming and playing. No one in the right frame of mind wants to call somebody and have them play and go. We obviously want them to come. There's their way of earning money and we also have our way to earn money. When two synergies come together, correct? A person like me always wants to take care of the artist's pay. That's why Mirage is even running today.
Right.
A lot of people come play.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets delayed. We can't help it.
What's one thing Bangalore had then? I'm talking about 2014 and even before that, but it doesn't have now. And don't say something safe like community or so.
Loyalty.
Mean something specific.
Loyalty.
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 Yeah.
Customers' loyalty.
Why
Today you
say
don't
that?
have it.
Yeah.
You don't have it. Right?
In what sense?
Tell me when you used to play back in the day.
Right.
You knew how many people were coming. Out of 100, you would know 80 people. Today when you do the same, how many do you know?
And Venice used to thrive on this.
Yes.
Right.
Very, very important.
Right. First, Bangalore, when you remember being too young to be inside.
Black Cadillac.
Yeah, tried getting in there.
My cousin had taken me there.
Right.
And I was very, very young. You see a pub buzzing like that. I hadn't seen anything.
First song that you remember playing on a Bangalore dance floor?
That Saturday night,
Wickfield.
Wickfield,
Top World, Black Cadillac, P-Pop or NASA?
Pub World.
Most underrated old Bangalore Catholic family in F&B, not the Rices.
Anglo-Indians,
Yes.
if you're asking about them, I don't know how many people had restaurants or who has ever run a restaurant. But right now,
Yeah.
there is the Lloyd,
Yeah. Lifearts.
right, the Dryfords, right?
Yeah. Avalon.
The best barbecue pork. If anyone ever loves to eat pork, go and have Lloyd's barbecue pork. That is the best pork. And also Andre's wife's kitchen,
Yes.
which is the best ball curry, cutlets. Very, very good. They have a lot of scope to do big things.
First concert you ever went to anywhere?
Bacardi Blast,
Wow.
1990 something. I can't even remember. I must have been 16 years old.
The Big Fix. Why did you say yes?
Yeah, of course. I know you so well from such a long time. We've had a very good relationship. I usually don't come on all this. I don't like to come in. I like, of course, you've seen me talking to a lot of people here, but I'm very camera shy.
Right.
I know you're someone, I know you from a long time. You're someone trying to do something.
Yeah.
You've called, we should come and support you. It's that's what it is. This is what your passion is. If we don't come and support you, tomorrow if I open one bar, you will come and have a drink there.
Yeah.
That's how you come and show your support to us. When you do these things, obviously we should come and support what you are doing, especially being a friend of us. Somebody else had to call me, I would have said no because I don't know them. Definitely I come because it's you. We go back many years, don't we?
Yes. Now we are going to go into this section called the rapid fire. Okay. Bar or restaurant?
Bar,
Bangalore or Mumbai?
Bangalore,
Tycoons in 1989 or VRO in 2026?
Tycoons 1989,
Build a brand or buy one?
Build,
Investor money or organic growth?
organic growth,
Legacy or relevance?
relevance, no, legacy,
One word for Bangalore's F&B scene right now.
dicey,
One word for what your father taught you that no business could.
respect,
One word for the day Tycoons reopened under VRO.
legacy,
One word for the hardest year you have had at VRO.
2025,
One word for the day Mirage opened.
happy,
One word for the next chapter of VRO.
coming soon.
Never have I ever. I'm gonna ask you 7 questions, okay? And you have to respond to this. Never have I ever opened a venue I knew was a mistake before the first night.
No,
You have never.
never,
Never have I ever pretended to enjoy your venue's music while actually counting cash in the cash flows.
no, never,
Never.
no,
Never have I ever disagreed with an investor and said yes anyway.
never,
Never have I ever broken any of my father's rules in a business decision.
no, never,
Never have I ever called my dad for advice on a business decision.
I have.
Ladies and gents, so that was Sharath Rice. I just want to end on one question that has been sourced and what your friends asked me to ask you. Why do you call all your friends Bob?
Bob is just, I don't know. It's back in the day, all the Anglos used to get together, play hockey and all, no?
Right.
And then, Bob, plus, you can't say somebody, hey, Bob, pass the ball, hey, Bob. That thing has become a habit.
It's like
Yeah, it's a stuck thing.
awesome. Once again, Sharath, thanks.
Thank you.
for coming and the big things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay fixed until the next episode.
Stay fixed.
That was Sharath Rice, co-founder of VRO Hospitality, the man behind Hangover, Mirage, Plan B, Café Noir, Badmaash, and most of the rooms you've spent your nights in across Bangalore. He doesn't do many podcasts. He doesn't do much press, so I'm grateful he sat down with us today. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with someone who'd appreciate it. Subscribe wherever you're listening.